Superheroes are done.
Butcher has the virus. Homelander is about to massacre 80% of America on live television. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, Ryan is standing at a cabin, and nobody knows if he survives what's coming. The finale trailer for The Boys just dropped, and it is not messing around. This isn't build-up anymore. This isn't setup. Every single thing this show has been working toward for 5 seasons is converging in one episode. And based on what's in this footage, someone we love is not making it out. Let's break it all down. 5 years, 5 seasons, an endless conveyor belt of corporate satire, superhero gore, genuinely disturbing psychological horror, and some of the sharpest political commentary television has ever managed to sneak past mainstream audiences. And it all ends here. Episode 8, The Boys series finale, titled Beautifully Perfectly, Shock and Awe, Blood and Bone. The trailer is dense, it moves fast, and if you blinked at the wrong moments, you miss things that matter enormously. There's a beach landing that raises serious questions. Sister Sage is completely absent from the footage, which is somehow more alarming than if she were front and center. Soldier Boy is barely present, and Homelander is being guided by a hallucination towards something that could kill millions of people. Plus, there's deleted scene information about Frenchie's death that is equal parts disturbing and completely on brand for this show. We'll get to that. There's a lot here. Let's take it piece by piece. Start with the most important object in the finale. The virus, version 2. The one Frenchie was working on before he died. It's done. Butcher has it. And the voiceover in the trailer, Butcher talking about ending the entire concept of superheroes, makes it devastatingly clear that he is fully prepared to use it. But here's the horror underneath that sentence. The virus doesn't discriminate between Homelander and Annie. Between the monster in the cape, and every person who ever tried to do something good with powers they didn't ask for. Starlight, Kimiko, Ryan. If Butcher releases this thing, they all die. And Butcher knows that. He's been told. He's had it explained to him directly. And based on everything the trailer shows us about where his head is right now, he does not care. Here's what makes that so chilling rather than just evil. The show has been quietly building the context for this decision all season, through the CIA flashback material. Long before Becca, long before Homelander, long before the boys existed as a concept, Billy Butcher was already the kind of man who would let his entire squad die to eliminate one target. The moral calculus that everyone around him has been desperately trying to reach him through has never actually been his calculus. He has always operated on a different equation entirely. The mission, the target, everyone else is acceptable loss. Hughie is terrified. You can see it in the trailer. The desperation, the disbelief that this is actually where Butcher has arrived. But Butcher doesn't need Hughie's approval. He never did. He needed Hughie to grow into something worth protecting, and then he needed to do what he was always going to do. The question isn't whether Butcher releases the virus. The question is whether anyone can stop him in time. Before we move forward, let's talk about what was cut. Behind-the-scenes information has emerged about a deleted scene from Frenchie's death in episode 7, and the full version of what Homelander did is darker than what aired. Apparently he didn't just kill Frenchie. He deliberately dragged his finger through the wound, exposing it to the weaponized radiation to speed up the death and make it more painful. The fact that they cut the full brutality of it is interesting, because what they replaced it with, Homelander mockingly dancing with Frenchie's body, is actually somehow more disturbing. It's not the sadism of a man causing pain for control. It's the sadism of a man who finds suffering funny. Who has so completely disconnected from human experience that a person dying in front of him registers as entertainment? That distinction matters enormously going into the finale. Because what the trailer shows us about Homelander in episode 8 is a man who has crossed from calculated cruelty into something more unhinged and more dangerous. He's not performing anymore. He's not maintaining appearances. The performance is over. The trailer shows us a White House meeting. Homelander, oh father, the deep. And the mood in that room is not strategy. It's barely contained panic, dressed up as authority. Here's what's driving the scene. Homelander's focus groups are catastrophic. 6 out of 30 people in a test audience actually believe he's a literal god. 6 out of 30. For a man whose entire psychological architecture is built on being worshipped, That number isn't just disappointing, it's existential. Oh, Father, Daveed Diggs, who has been absolutely exceptional this season, looks terrified. And he should be. The PR narrative he's been building, the religious spectacle, the Broadway number, all of it isn't moving the numbers fast enough for Homelander's fractured ego. And Homelander doesn't have patience anymore. He stopped having patience several episodes ago. What the trailer implies, and this is where it gets genuinely horrifying, is that Homelander is being guided toward a specific conclusion by the hallucination of Madeline Stillwell. She was always his emotional anchor, his surrogate mother, the person whose approval he needed more than anyone else in his life. And now she exists as a voice in his head, pushing him toward the most extreme possible version of every impulse he has. If 80% of America doesn't believe he's a god, kill the 80%. That's the math he's doing. And the trailer heavily implies he's going to announce his godhood on live television. Not a press conference, not a controlled environment, a live broadcast to the entire world. And if the celebration turns into a massacre, which every piece of evidence in this trailer suggests it will be streamed globally, in real time, mirroring almost exactly what Homelander described to Annie seasons ago when he talked about what he could do if he ever stopped holding back. He's not holding back anymore. There are no guardrails, no handlers, no one left who he respects enough to listen to. This is what happens when every check on power is systematically removed. Eventually you arrive here, at a man with the strength of a god, and the emotional regulation of a traumatized child, about to do something on live television that the world will not recover from. And then the boys go in. Mother's Milk and Butcher with crowbars. Annie, Kimiko, the remaining team, storming the White House. And based on what the showrunners have been saying in interviews, they saved the budget for this. They built toward this sequence specifically. This is the moment the show has been promising since it first started diverging from the comics, and it is being delivered at full scale. In Garth Ennis's original comics, the final battle features Homelander above the White House lawn, backed by a legion of Supes, in a sequence that is chaotic and bloody and completely uncompromising. The TV show is honoring the geography and the energy of that finale, while telling an entirely different story through the same setting. Same lawn, different souls. Let's talk about the individual character threads visible in the trailer. Kimiko. She sheds one tear before they move out. One. And then nothing. She is not crying for herself. She is not crying from fear. She is crying for Frenchie, probably for the last time before she locks it away. And then she is ready. Completely ready. With nothing left to lose, and every reason to be exactly as dangerous as she's capable of being. Ashley is sprinting through underground tunnels, which honestly is the most Ashley possible way to survive the apocalypse. Not heroism, not sacrifice, just running very fast through underground infrastructure, while everyone else has their final confrontation upstairs. And weirdly, genuinely, I hope she makes it. She's a survivor.
The poison chalice she's been holding all season might finally get put down, if she can just keep running long enough.
Beaufathered is fighting the boys inside the White House. Daveed Diggs in a physical confrontation sequence is something I did not know I needed from this show, and now apparently I'm getting it. Whether he survives that fight is genuinely unclear. He's been one of the most compelling additions to this season, and the show might let him walk away from it. Or it might make him another casualty of the institution he served. Either would feel true to who he is. If there is one character whose time is categorically, definitively, undebatably up, it's the Deep. The trailer shows Annie cornering him inside the White House, and Chase Crawford himself has teased in interviews that his character's ending is a direct callback and payoff to his Season 1 dynamic with Starlight. Which is not subtle. That is the writer saying, remember what he did to her. Remember the first episode she walked into the Seven. Remember what she had to endure and what she was told to stay quiet about. This ending is the answer to that. The Deep has had redemption arcs dangled in front of him across 5 seasons. He has refused every single one. Not out of trauma or circumstance, out of active, consistent choice. He has looked at the fork in the road every time, and taken the worst path because the worst path offered proximity to power, even when that power was just the reflection of someone else's approval. He chose this. Every single step of this. And Annie's Starlight, who has spent the entire series being someone who believes in giving people chances, who has sometimes believed in it to her own detriment, is done extending that courtesy to him. The irony of the final confrontation is perfect. He spent years trying to take things from her. she gets to end it. And based on the callbacks Crawford is hinting at, she's going to do it in a way that closes the circle completely. Here are the two most significant absences in the trailer, and both of them matter enormously. Soldier Boy is virtually missing from the finale footage, and Eric Kripke has confirmed that Jensen Ackles' final major scene was the cryo chamber moment at the end of episode 7. Soldier Boy is not storming the White House. He is not the cavalry. He is not the trump card that saves the day. The most logical reading of this, and the one that fits both the narrative and the business context, is that Soldier Boy gets a post-credits sequence. A brief appearance that bridges the gap to Vought Rising, the confirmed prequel series. His story doesn't end here. It just doesn't conclude here either. For fans who wanted him to be the deciding factor in the finale, that's a genuine disappointment. But for the show's thematic coherence, having Butcher and Homelander finish this without a third party riding him to save the day is actually more honest. Now Ryan, who is standing at the cabin from season 2, the place where so much of his story began, and Butcher's voiceover playing over that footage is the most loaded juxtaposition in the entire trailer. Shock and awe, blood and bone. The virus question as it applies to Ryan is genuinely unresolved. Compound V was injected into his mother while he was in the womb. His powers are biological, built into him from birth rather than introduced after the fact. The virus was designed to target the chemical compound. If Ryan's physiology is different enough from other Supes, he might be immune. Or he might not be. And the show is deliberately not resolving that in the trailer. Because that uncertainty, the possibility that Butcher's endgame kills the boy he's actually been trying to protect this entire time, is the emotional knife at the center of the finale. Everything Butcher has done, every moral compromise, every step toward the monster he's becoming, it was always supposed to be for Ryan. And if the virus kills Ryan too, then what was any of it for? We need to talk about what's not in the trailer. Sister Sage, completely absent, not a single frame. Now that could mean a lot of things. It could mean she's been sidelined narratively. It could mean the show is protecting her finale reveal, keeping her out of the promo material because her final appearance is a surprise worth preserving. But the theory that's gaining the most traction in fan communities is darker than that. Sage has been lobotomizing herself repeatedly this season to cope with the spiraling failure of her plans. Each self-inflicted reset takes something from her permanently. The cumulative damage of doing that repeatedly isn't zero. And a character who has been slowly, methodically destroying her own greatest asset might be approaching a version of herself that can no longer rebuild. If Sage's storyline ends not with a dramatic final gambit, but with the quiet tragedy of the smartest person in the world having used her intelligence to systematically dismantle her own mind, that's an ending that would hit on a completely different frequency than anything else in the finale. Her absence from the trailer might be the show protecting that reveal, or it might mean she's already gone in a way that doesn't make it into the final battle at all. Both options are devastating, in completely different ways. There's a blink and you miss it shot in the trailer, someone landing on a beach, unidentified, moving away from something. The most widely circulating interpretation is that this is one of the survivors, escaping the fallout of the virus, or the White House battle, or whatever combination of catastrophes the finale delivers. A beach implies distance, separation from the mainland, someone who made it out and is trying to get as far as possible from everything that just happened. The who matters enormously, and the trailer is deliberately keeping it obscured. But the shot exists for a reason. The show is telling you that someone makes it to shore, someone survives, with enough left to keep going. Whether that's hope or just the absence of death, depends entirely on who it is. The boys promise something in its very first episode. Billy Butcher wants to end the entire notion of superheroes, no compromises, no half measures. That promise has been deferred and complicated and tested for 5 seasons, and the finale is the moment the show has to decide whether it keeps it. Not whether Butcher keeps it, whether the show does. Because the easy ending is Butcher being stopped. The hero finds his humanity, the virus gets contained, Homelander falls, the world is messy, but recoverable. Roll credits. The honest ending is messier than that. The honest ending is about what it costs to fight this long, what you leave behind in the process, and whether the system that made the monster in the first place actually changes when the monster is gone. shock and awe, blood and bone. Those aren't just words. And this show has never broken a promise to its audience, even when keeping it hurt. Tell me in the comments, who do you think lands on that beach? Who makes it out? And does Butcher get to be the hero at the end? Or is that ship too far gone? One episode left, and I genuinely don't know if I'm ready.